Hey Run Junkies, we've been diving into the mental aspect of running here for a while now, and today I want to bring you highlights from the Perform Like a Mother webinar session 3, Execution When It Counts. These webinars are hosted by the Train Like a Mother Club and led by sports psychologist Dr. Justin Ross. So let's dive into these highlights right now. As I mentioned, the title of this webinar is called Execution When It Counts. What that means is that you're taking all of the aspects of your training, all the miles, all the nutrition, the hydration, the sleep, the recovery, everything you've done up to this point to get ready to toe that start line. But Dr. Ross's first point is interesting, isn't it? And it's something we don't really think about until maybe 2 weeks out, is that we have to have a little bit of fortune on our side as well. Because you can have the best training cycle ever. All of your runs were great. You were consistent in your recovery. You got great sleep. You are well rested, well hydrated, ready to get to that race. But on that day, you might face conditions that may compromise your goals. So it's at this point that you have to make decisions based on what you know. Are you going to go for it even though it's going to be really hot outside? If it's raining, are you going to adjust your running kit? Changing our race day plan and our goals even at the last minute can be very challenging. If we have some strong PRs on the line and our training has been very consistent, that's a hard call to make on that day if conditions aren't in our favor. So if we go back to session 1 and we keep our goals in mind during our training, it's that mindfulness that will help us execute on race day. This is what sets one runner apart from another. It really comes down to your determination and your commitment and the clarity of your plan and your goals. Because we control so much of our training, and when our training is going well, we feel really good about what we've accomplished so far. But we still lay all of our chips on that one day on the calendar, the one day when we need everything to come together and work in our favor. We are gambling months of work, and when that number doesn't come up for us, we are disappointed or even angry. I mean, we get angry when the weather does not do what we want it to do, right? We have to learn to let go of what we can't control and just roll with it. And that's easier said than done. But we have to play the cards we're given, and we still have a choice of how we're going to handle that day. So if we can find a way to just keep calm, embrace it, live with it, and just go. Trust your training and your body. Okay, so we're on the back half of the race, right? We're running along and we're doing the best we can, but this is the point in the back half of that race that we, as we talked about in previous sessions, have to tolerate that discomfort. We have to expect that it is going to get uncomfortable instead of get anxious and worried about it. It's time to embrace it, and it is time to make that discomfort part of your performance, not something that gets in the way. This is where Dr. Ross said something really interesting. He said, we don't rise to the pressure of the occasion. We sink to the level of our training. Now chew on that for a second. You can run all the miles, but never really tap into the mental fortitude it takes to do exactly what we've been talking about, tolerate that discomfort. Laying down that hard effort is not something we just turn on. If we spend all of our training just tuning out our bodies and listening to our music or our podcasts or our audiobooks and not really thinking about what we're doing on a regular basis, that's not just gonna show up on race day when we need it to. We haven't been practicing it. That mental toughness is not just a switch we can flip. So we practice this. The more we practice tolerating discomfort in our daily lives and in our training, the better prepared we will be on race day to do that exact same thing. And what that teaches us is to not back down when things start to get uncomfortable. So then the question comes up, how do we learn to tolerate that discomfort? Well, Dr. Ross talks about this life at 70 degrees. Here we are sitting in our temperature controlled homes with our air conditioning or heat or whatever we need when we need it. We live in this narrow temperature range that keeps us comfortable, and it kind of is a disservice in our training. So in order to learn to tolerate discomfort, allow yourself to be a little bit warmer than you're comfortable, or maybe a little bit colder than you're comfortable, just for a couple of minutes throughout your day. Go run in conditions that you might consider less than ideal. Just embrace it and see how your body is feeling and reacting to that. This will prepare you better for tolerating that discomfort, especially when race day conditions are not what you want them to be. So another question Dr. Ross asks is, have you ever felt disappointed when you cross a finish line? What Dr. Ross says is that that disappointment at the end of a race may mean that you had a secret goal that you didn't even know you had, and you certainly didn't tell anybody else about it, and therefore you cross that finish line wishing you had done something different or missing the mark on a goal that, again, maybe we didn't even know we had. Acknowledging that just helps us come to terms and find that peace with that race day performance. Now, we can choose our consequences, can't we? So if we're in the back stages of a race and we're getting close to the end, but our bodies are breaking down and telling us to slow down, to stop, we could do that. We could listen to that and we could just slow down. It might make our bodies feel better, but it's gonna make our minds feel worse. We have to understand that trade-off. We have to come to terms with that. Maybe there is that decision point in a race, and we have to decide what we're willing to sacrifice. So this is my favorite quote from this session from Dr. Justin Ross. He says, "Your job in the first half is to not be a hero. Your job in the second half is to not be a wimp." So after listening to this session, I got a lot of insight over what is, at this moment of this recording, my last race, which is Beat the Blurge. I'm feeling much better about that day's performance. I had a good time. Yes, I did make the decision to slow down. And you know why? Because I was a hero when I didn't need to be. I could have started that first half of the race maybe 5 seconds slower and adjusted when the rain started coming down. So I just went out too hard in that first half. I overestimated my capability going up a hill in the rain, and I paid for it later. I made the right call because my choice was how much did I want to suffer, especially when I still have another couple of races coming up in a few weeks. So here's the other thing I said. If you remember that I said, I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens, that is not a clear goal. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna see how I do. That is not a good race plan. Go for it and see what happens. So going into the next hard effort, I am going to have a better plan, a clearer goal. The bottom line is this: mental toughness is a skill to be developed, not a magic phrase. We can work on it every day. You're not just mentally tough in one situation every once in a while. We can't just switch it on. It's consistent work throughout our training and throughout our lives. It's about the effort and pushing your limits and finding comfort with that hard performance. The numbers are only part of the day. Dr. Ross kept coming back to this concept of effort. Did you make it about your effort? Did you show up when you needed to? Will you execute your performance when it counts? My question for you today is this: how do you build your mental toughness? Please leave thoughts, questions, comments, and suggestions in the comment section down below. And as always, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Folks, I will be live on Thursday, so please leave those questions so we have something to talk about. And if you want to see the other 2 videos from the Perform Like a Mother webinar series, check out these guys right here. That's it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Get out there, go find your awesome. Until next time, be mentally tough and happy running.